There are cracks running through the pavement. Please don't fall in. I don't want to lose you again. There are tracks leading up to this moment. Let's just dig in and find our own way to begin. It's no small act of rebellion to stand up and be heard. Make some space for who you are now, and be sure to have the final word. The final word. The final word. We've no idea where we'll end up tomorrow, but I know wherever we land, we'll go through it hand in hand. They can try to wear us down to nothing, but they will never know how far we are able to go. It's no small act of rebellion to stand up and be heard. Make some space for who you are now, and be sure to yell the final word. The final word. The final word. I see that you just wanna block it out to go back and climb in a hole. Please don't be scared of that, we seem so easy. Let's circle up and bring ourselves in from the cold. Of rebellion to stand up and be heard. Make some space for who you are now, and be sure to shout the final word. It's a great act of rebellion to stand up and be heard. Make way for who you are now, and be sure to scream the final word. The final word. Final word. The final word. The final word.
Hello.
Hello, everyone.
All right, you guys, welcome to the latest edition of, Oh, okay. All right. No, my posture's horrible.
I don't know. Thank you.
All right, you guys, welcome to Elle Unfiltered. You guys are joining us the 6:30 Central Standard Time, and I have two amazing artists. If you guys are paying attention on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, AO Radio Shy, then you just heard the video or the latest song called Final Word. We're going to talk to the musicians, the creators, producers, all of that of this song and more. So welcome this evening. I have Mick Orton and Dain Bedford. Hi, guys.
Hello.
You guys, who's in Arizona? Who's in San Francisco?
Mick's in Arizona. I'm in, the Bay Area, so just north of San Francisco.
You're in the Bay Area. Well, welcome, you guys. So, Final Word.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me about that song.
Well, it came from me initially, and then as Mick and I often do, we'll then share our initial demos with each other and then collaborate on the song. I wrote the initial version of the lyrics and the melody and the guitar chords, And then Mick sent me notes, and we worked on it together and created the wonderful thing that it is. I tend to, my songwriting process tends to just start with a lyric and a melody, and then I kind of just let it find its own way. It tends to be more abstract when I start a song. So yeah.
Okay, I kind of jumped ahead a little bit because I didn't introduce you guys as the Silvers, and that name kind of resonated with me. So when I received you guys the information, I was like, oh, the Silvers. It took me back to an old R&B group, but they spelled Silvers with a Y.
Right,
That's
that was
right,
a family name, yes.
Yeah. And so then I did a little more research on you guys. So you guys originally had another group. Who had the original group?
Well, you're talking about Silver Laughter?
Silver
me.
Laughter.
That's
that
me.
was you. Okay, so we're going to go way back a little bit. So that was in the 70s, right?
Yes, it was.
Okay, so was this group originally found when you were in high school?
I'm sorry, say it again?
Was this group originally found when you were back in high school, back in your high school years?
We're talking about Silver Laughter. What happened was we had all played together over time in different groups. And in the 70s, John Ludke and Kim Ludke had formed a group that was touring the Midwest and Canada. And then we recorded 2 albums. And then when the band broke up, I moved to California. That's where I met Dain and Carl.
Oh, okay. So you guys said Americana. Explain that because people don't always understand. You said Americana genre. Explain what that genre is.
I'm not sure I understand it either. We've been called power pop or rock or pop. I mean, I don't know. I think never heard Americana before.
Yeah, maybe your early stuff was more Americana. I don't know.
Maybe
it's
so.
before my time in the band.
See, when I think of Americana, I immediately go to like Bruce Springsteen.
Oh, well, that works.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah, the kind of blue collar.
Rock and roll, maybe. Look, rock and roll.
Yeah, a bit of rock and roll in there. Yeah, I can hear that. Yeah, I think certainly when I came into the band, Mick was already looking to kind of collaborate with other kinds of musicians, and I think our sound has evolved into there's certainly a bit of 70s kind of rock in there.
Okay.
But yeah, I would probably class this as pop rock, where we're kind of positioned now. But there's other people out there who would label us differently, but you kind of have to do that with music. But I think that it's such a blended thing with a lot of bands when it comes to genres.
Do you find, because when I listen to your music and I listen to other music from more mature artists, you guys still have that that are bringing back that eclectic 70s vibe. Do you think that's something that's going to come back now?
I don't know.
I mean,
we hope.
Yeah. These things kind of go in cycles. So I think. I mean, I am. I'm gotten to an age now where I'm a bit out of the loop with what's happening in music at the moment. I came up during the 90s in the UK, and that was a period. Britpop is the often not very valid kind of label, but it was very much a kind of, in the UK we had a lot of early 90s was kind of hardcore dance music and that kind of craze. And I think, love them or loathe them, Oasis kind of ushered in a return to a kind of 60s looking rock and roll. And guitar bands, I think there was a real return of guitar bands, which is fantastic for me. When I picked up a guitar, that was kind of where I wanted to be. It was an era of guys at parties playing acoustic guitar. I heard a lot of Wonderwall by Oasis at a lot of parties in those days. But and I kind of realized these things do come back around. So yeah, maybe the 70s music is having more of a day. Although I shudder to think that people refer to the 90s as retro now, which really makes me.
I know it creeps me out, because when I hear people talking about, the 90s music, and I'm like, the 90s had, to me, some of the best music. But I remember the 80s music as well. But the 90s music, so when I hear people like old school, I'm thinking like, not really. Am I that old? You know, but when you think about like 1993 and you talk about 96, you're like, well, yeah, I guess it is kind of up there. But it was really good music then. It was really great music.
Yeah, people say 20 years ago. I'm like, oh, you mean like the 90s? And they're like, that's more than 20 years ago now, pal. I'm like, oh, God. But yeah, it is interesting how music does come around like that. But yeah,
I always say I have a daughter that's in her 30s, and she grew up in the 90s, and so she loves the 90s music. But she didn't have a choice because I really had her just like immersed in like the 90s and the 80s music. So she knows way more about older music than anyone her age, and she's like 33 or something, whatever. And so I find it interesting that she says I can relate to that music. I can't. And Mom, she says, Mom, after 2010, I can't relate to this music today. I'm like, wow, really?
yeah. No, I get it. But then it's kind of interesting. I think what is wonderful about today with being able to stream any music. Now it hurts artists like us because we're not making as much money that way. But as a music listener, if there's a genre you like, you can go and find it. You're not limited to what's playing on the radio or what's kind of out there. So, you know, I think it's really great for that. You can go and discover new music of any kind of genre and whatever you're into, really. And I definitely think the kind of 70s rock sound, there's a lot of that. But then again, I listen to a lot of indie and psychedelic rock. That's kind of my
I like that
listening taste.
Yeah.
And I think unconsciously, the kind of 70s sound, my dad was always playing like Doobie Brothers and that kind of stuff, and Boston, and that was really the kind of sound I grew up listening to. And Neil Diamond, for some reason, he was really into Neil Diamond. But whatever. That's probably you know, you think of all the white guys who get excited when Sweet Caroline starts playing. That's Neil Diamond for me. But yeah.
There's nothing wrong with a little Neil Diamond, okay? There's
Absolutely.
Nothing wrong with it.
Hell of a voice as well.
Very little.
So yeah. Mick, out of all the three of you, the other is not here. So you have longevity in the music realm. How do you maintain that? How do you maintain that love for music all these years?
You know, I don't know. I just it's like Dain was saying, you know, you get an idea of a song or something. And what happened was when I moved to California in the 70s, end of 1980, I guess it was, we had this whole string of songs that we hadn't recorded. And our band Silver Laughter was inducted into the Iowa Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 2014. And I looked at the guys and I said, we got enough material to record another album. How about it? And I hear crickets, nothing. They weren't interested, right? So Dain and I, when we started working together, I kind of, you know, I just get a few tidbits here and there, and sometimes I'm not sure I overwhelm him or not, but send them along, and then we work on them together. Lately, we've been doing that more and more, collaboration.
Yeah, which is a collaboration is a wonderful thing with arts, and it's I think songwriting's great when you can collaborate with another artist and get someone else's point of view and suggest something you weren't even aware of, and it's a really exciting thing when that comes together. Or point out where something's been repeated, as we've discovered with some of our stuff by this point, with all the stuff we've recorded. But yeah.
So from 2016 through COVID, how have you guys? How has your music changed? I mean, you went from you went from, I guess, from what, 2000 and all the way until what, like 2016.
Yeah, I mean, we met in 2020, so yeah, that's for you to answer, Mick. Yeah,
I was in China at when the COVID thing hit, but it hadn't been widespread. So my wife and I went and toured China for about 3 weeks, and I getting really sick at the end of the 3 weeks. I go, what is the deal? I've never been this sick. Came home Christmas, I was just a mess all through about 3 months. It took me to recover, and I didn't know. Then they started announcing about the COVID, and then I went, well, maybe that's what I had. They've tested me since then and said I don't have it, but, you know.
Yeah, we were suspicious he was patient zero for a while, but it turns out he didn't have it.
I brought it with me.
Oh my
Typhoid
God.
Mary here. But it's interesting you asked about COVID because I met Mick in January 2020. He put an ad out on
Okay.
a website, Bands Mix, and Mick's plan, I think, was to get us recording, but also to get us playing live.
Mm-hmm.
And then the pandemic happened, and live wasn't going to happen, and everything closed down, quite rightly. And then Mick relocated to Arizona. Was that 21, Mick?
About 3 years ago.
Yeah. Oh, 22, yeah. So at that point, we knew we'd only be a recording band, which is a shame. We do get asked if we are playing, and it's just logistically the amount of time we need to spend rehearsing, and because we're not in the same town. So we are just a recording band, but that means we put all our effort and we kind of churn an album out, or one year we did an EP, but we're kind of churning something out every year.
So is that why you guys are able to put out so much music in a shorter period of time? Because you are the recording band, and I hate to say just a recording band, but yeah.
Yeah, absolutely, and
So who's the primary contributor in the band? Who's the main contributor in the band when it comes to creating? Mick is really.
I'm pointing that way because he's
pointing that way,
and Mick is pointing the other way. He's saying it to you.
Mick churns music out, and sorry, Mick, he is great at sending. He's like, let's just give this a try and just let's break these songs down and see if we have something there, and if we don't, we have other material. And he's really prolific with getting us going with music. And then I tend to contribute a couple of compositions per album, and then Mick helped me with those. But yeah,
so
Mick's our band leader. He's very humble about it.
Mick's the band leader.
Yeah.
So Mick, since you're the band leader and you're putting out the majority of the material, where do you get some of your influences from in music for the music?
Well, sometimes I hear something on the radio that I think is pretty interesting, and then I develop something off of that that's unique and separate from that sound. But overall, I just kind of, I don't know, they come to me once in a while, and just I feel fortunate that, that wavelength or whatever it is, where the stuff just kind of comes. I think Tom Hanks talked about it when he wrote his book. He said, you can't really question where it comes from, the creativity. You just have to accept that it's there and then, use it, basically.
Okay, so when you think about today's music and all the different genres that we're talking about, is there a commonality that you guys find in all the genres of music? I know that's kind of a loaded question, but
yes. Is that the answer? Is there a commonality across all genres of music? There has to be. There's 7 major notes, right? So, I think certainly as I've gotten older, I used to be, if you spoke to me as a 16-year-old, I'd be like, if it hasn't got a guitar in it, I don't care about it. I dismiss it, which is ridiculous. And except for maybe country music, I've certainly learned to appreciate music in all kinds of genres. And maybe getting into hardcore metal, it's not my cup of tea. However, I can really appreciate the instrumentation and talent of. I did say to Mick when I joined, I was a rhythm guitarist. I've now segued into. I then became the lead guitarist. I was like, if this had been a metal band, I would have been out after one session because I wouldn't have been able to cope or keep up.
Really?
But because of the style of music, I've really grown. It's been incredible, my journey into being a lead guitarist, and I've become. I struggle with praising myself, but I've become much better as a lead guitarist because of the kind of music that we're playing.
He's very humble.
I know. He just give yourself a pat on the back. It's okay. It's okay.
As long as somebody else says something.
All the guitars because we can record. I'm like, let's just throw on multiple guitar tracks. We're never gonna have to play this live. I'd need 8 arms to play all the guitar tracks.
So is there any chance you guys are going to get together and maybe start playing live at any point?
Never say never. We just have to really figure out how that would work, and whether we'd probably need to really adapt the songs or get another guitarist and maybe a keyboard player to kind of join us, which has been done. Obviously, bands do it all the time, but yeah, it's more the logistics. It would be wonderful to play live, but
Yeah,
not
Foster
wanting to
the
do that
People
too.
started out with just 3 people in the group,
Mhm.
and then over time, every time I see them, they play on a video. They always have added musicians.
Yep.
Foster the more people. Yeah.
That's about the only way we'd be able to do it because we have so many harmonies and so many instrument
Yeah.
parts.
The harmonies are the other thing for sure.
Yeah, need a lot of
Because
vocalists.
we try to get Carl to sing, but he refuses. So.
Carl
So,
says nobody wants to hear me sing.
Yeah. Yeah, he doesn't give himself enough credit, but so Mick and I take on harmony duties, and those 3-part harmonies aren't going to work with 2 of us.
I mean, I think you guys are so super talented. I mean, you have to. I've watched your videos, your YouTube videos. You guys really get great traction from your YouTube videos and people watching you. So how come you can't translate that into maybe? Oh my God, what happened? There we go. I don't know what happened. I have no idea what happened. But anyway, I'm back. I have no idea what happened.
Okay, we didn't lose you.
Oh, okay. Well, thank God. Oh. So you guys get so much traction from your YouTube videos. How come you can't translate that into a couple of live performances, or maybe like during the summertime? There are so many people have so many different like fairs and musical events that you can maybe start with. I'll tell you like this: Chicago has so many like festivals throughout the summertime.
Mm-hmm.
You guys could like maybe it's like okay, I want to get on that one and maybe perform like one of the street fairs or something that's going on. How come that's not in your thought process right now? Because it should be, honestly. You guys would kill it in the summertime in Chicago.
Thank you so much. That's wonderful of you to say. I mean, it's not like we couldn't do that. It just happened. I work full time as well, so I'm trying to buy more records, people, so I don't have to. But that's another thing. But of course, we could probably figure something out. It's just it would take a lot of figuring out, and I just don't think.
There's also the thing where the bands I used to be in, we all did cover songs of other groups. So we do whatever. So to get our music out and have people that know what we do is a little difficult because we don't play live. So I'm not sure they'd recognize what the songs were if we played our songs anyway. So we just right now we're a recording band, and that's it for now.
Yeah, that doesn't mean we won't in the future. It would be wonderful to do so, but it's something I often think about. And we do discuss it. Mick flies in and we rehearse for a couple of days before going to the studio, and it kind of comes up every time. Like, how could we make that work? So there's it's in the conceptual stage. Maybe it will get beyond that, but yes, it would be wonderful too. So who knows?
How did you guys manage to maneuver through COVID? That's like for musicians, they were just like this is like killing us because you couldn't go out and perform. How did you guys manage to just kind of maneuver through COVID? I think too now, it's been like 4 years. What is it? 22. COVID ended in 21?
Coming up to 5. Yeah. March 2020 was when the lockdown happened. So 5 years. Blimey, it's very English.
It is, but I didn't say anything. I didn't realize until you said that, and I said I think he has an accent. So I kept listening to you, and then you said, "Oh yeah, okay, I got it now. All right, you haven't lost your British accent completely."
Yeah, I think Americans also understandably expect either Hugh Grant or someone like Ray Winstone, that kind of one of those accents. So, but no, I mean when it hit, we'd only just started playing together with this lineup. We knew we couldn't play live for the foreseeable future, but what we did do is we got together pretty much weekly for quite a while there. And
outside, we were outside.
Yeah,
to do it,
we were outside. So at the time, we did have another member of the band. We rehearsed at his garage, but we actually went outside, and because otherwise we'd have to mask. So his neighbors got to hear us play. So I guess we performed live in that sense while rehearsing. Apparently, his one neighbor he apologized to. He said, "No, I love it. I love hearing it every week." So that was nice to hear.
Something I see so many musicians doing now. They're doing like porch performances. So they're literally on people's porch and they're performing.
Yeah.
I just saw. I guess the rapper MC Light. I just saw that she did one. Is that something you guys may consider? You're in the Bay Area.
We did do it once, but particularly with the weather. Obviously, we're very lucky to have the weather. We did. It was actually we just recorded our first album together. So we did, and then we knew Mick was moving, so it was kind of we played the full album. We did a driveway concert, basically, and all the neighbors kind of came over and put chairs on the lawn, and yeah, we played through the album, which was wonderful. It was a really great experience.
So cool. I can picture that. I bet that was amazing. Wasn't that awesome?
Yeah, it was cool. Yeah, and it was. I think we were like, if things weren't changing in terms of relocating, we probably could have done that a lot more.
Oh,
I'm not blaming you, Mick.
Okay,
it's moved to Arizona. Why?
Better weather. I have back issues, so the warm, dry weather helps with my arthritis. So, shouldn't say that.
Well,
arthritis.
It's too warm. It's too hot.
Is he that old?
I don't believe it for a second. I think he's making it up. Look at him.
I don't think so.
Fresh as a daisy.
So there are pictures of us playing at the Driveway concert up on our website, but there's no live video of that. So that's kind of where we are with the most recent videos we've had. Dain has put together videos of us in separate locations that makes it look like we're all together. And I think that was Edge of the World.
Yes, Edge of the World. We did a video for, and we did actually. I'm remembering now. During COVID, we did put out 2 videos. And we got the idea from Zoom, so we made it look like there were 4. We had all 4 of us because we were a 4-piece at the time, and we each recorded our part, and then I put it all together like all 4 on one screen, so it looked like a Zoom. So we did 2 videos that way as well.
That's right.
So it's kind of like we can't perform live, but we can maybe put out what looks like a live performance, if you like.
Okay, so Mick, this question is for you. So back in the day, you put out, you guys had an animated series.
We have, yes, we did. Our artist, Randall Bishop, and Juan Carlos Cuatro, I can't pronounce Spanish. He's in Argentina, and they trade stuff back and forth. And we decided that way back we were going to do this thing called Silver Surf City.
Yep.
That's where the characters came from. But it didn't pan out. We did 4 talking episodes before I met Dain and Carl. And it just was, it was just to keep us young, keep making videos without having to really, be there to be live. So that was kind of what the thinking was there, is that we had 3 alter egos that never get fat, they never die, and they stay young forever. And that's
cartoons for you. Yeah.
That's right.
Do you think you guys will reconsider doing that again? Because I think it's a market for it. I think it's a market for it. Maybe, yeah.
For which? I'm sorry.
For animated series.
Oh, the animated series. Well, no, we've done animated videos for our songs, but the series, how shall I say it? It was approached. We approached the guy from Lord of the Rings, John Mackay, and there was supposed to be the Silvers fly to this concert in a hurricane, and they get swept off into an alternate universe where the fish and the animals all talk. And there were 4 episodes of that, and it just didn't go anywhere. They couldn't find anybody that would buy it. So Disney turned us down. I think somebody else did, but that, like I say, that was ancient history. That was before Dain and Carl and I met. So.
Right. That's why I think you should try it again now.
I mean, it might be worth speaking to the animators.
I've interviewed this guy, and he has this animated series, and it is the wildest thing. But he's actually won a Webby for it. It's amazing. So really? I think you guys, now would be a really good time to kind of get back in there and do that.
Well, we have our own YouTube channels, youtube.com/The Silvers Music. All our videos are available there.
So with the animated series, you can keep you guys young. You can put out all your music. Add the California surf to it. I mean, people they love it. They love it. I mean, and you can be a little more. You don't have to be so, I guess, clean cut, if I could say it like that. You can be a little more ratchet, if you want to put it like that, or whatever. More like those the Beach Boys gone bad or something like that.
I kind of like that. Actually,
Yeah.
I'm giving you guys ideas. I'm telling you, work it. I mean, people love it. On YouTube, I never thought this guy would go. He's like, I took experiences from my neighborhood. Actually, we grew up across the street from each other. So when we got back in touch with him, and he's like, "You remember this?" I was like, "Yeah." They had this horrible dog that would chase everybody when they would walk down the street. And so he literally took this and he turned all these things into this animated, and people have just been loving it. I'm gonna send you guys a link when we're done the show so you can notice it on.
Yeah, please do.
Yeah, inspiration. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah. So these last two songs, these latest songs you guys have released, tell me about those.
So the first one, I'm blanking on the first one we released. Isn't that terrible? I obviously worked too hard.
Okay, so Back to the Real World.
Thank you. See, I forgot the title already.
Yeah.
I swear we record them and move on. That's the all right.
The artists right now are writing a cartoon for that song, so there'll be an animated video for
Back to the Real World.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I heard kind of some bits and pieces of it, but I just kind of let them do their thing because they're creators and they have an unusual. How would you say? They have a lot of different ideas of what needs to happen in these videos. So that's what they're working on that one now. That one, it was the first, Stuart Epps, he's the producer, excuse me, over in the UK that produces our music right now. So that was the first one that got finished by him. And that was the reason we released it first as a single.
What was the concept behind Back to the Real World? What was the concept for that?
Well, it was kind of, when we traveled, we used to think that we were really enlightened, right? Well, we're smart. Right? Yeah. We're the smartest guy in the room, and I'm this and I'm that, and we're all that. And it's kind of like, oh, now I'm back in the real world where, everybody's everybody. We're all equal. We're all, we have some talents in different areas, but generally speaking, people are people, So that's kind of where that idea came from for me. And then Dain helped me fine tune the lyrics on it. And he came up with a lot of I should say, Dain will confirm this, that the original demo I had of that song was too much like another song that we'd already done.
Okay. And
so he went in and said, we need to change it. And my feelings were hurt for a little while. And then I thought what happened was it really developed into a nice, tune with a lot of, melody in it rather than what the original thing was. He helped me.
And again, it actually became, I think, one of our favorites from that recording session. And early on, we were like, this could potentially be a single. And as Mick said, when Stuart mixed and mastered that song first, and we heard it, we're like, this sounds incredible. It has to be our first single. So yeah, we were really happy with it. It's a great little song.
Yeah. When we went in the studio to record it, it was quite a bit slower. And I thought, man, it's got no energy, right? And so we talked about it, and then we said, let's speed it up, and then Carl came in with his, the timing, I guess you'd call it, and decided to speed it up. And so now it's a real bouncy tune, I think.
Yeah.
I like it. I like it.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. You guys are, what I heard, your vocals are superior. Oh. And when you don't, it's just because, people think because you get older, you can't really do stuff. But, I think age is like a wonderful thing because like you said, when you're young, you think you know everything and you really don't. But when I hear your vocals, I said, this is what's missing in the music that we hear today. How do you guys maintain? You're like, this is what we're going to do. We're not going to worry about what's going on right now. We're going to maintain, what's us.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I think that's the key thing. You mentioned the harmonies. It's like when I came into the band and Mick said, you're gonna have to sing some harmonies, I was like, oh, okay. And now they're like my favorite part of the process because they just sound, Mick writes these 3-part harmonies that just sound, you kind of, when they click and you hear those 3-part harmonies, it's just fantastic. And it's a lot of fun to sing and record. Well, it is a lot of fun when you get it right. Although, yeah.
We usually spend the last day of our recording session tuning the vocals just to make sure that they're right on. Yeah. So yeah, it helps out to really go through and use Melodyne
just to fix those little warbles here and there.
Yeah, just the little ones, not a whole lot.
Can you say who's been pushed out of their comfort zone the most? We all have that comfort spot. So I think it's probably you, Dain. You've probably been pushed the most, right?
Yeah, I think at the beginning, and I've told Mick since, but there are moments early on where I was like, I don't know if I'm the right guy for this, which is kind of my MO anyway with everything. That's kind of who I am. And it takes me a couple of months to kind of find my feet. So I felt, I don't know if I can cut it. These guys are really good. They've been doing this for a while. I'm not sure. And then we kind of just hit a groove and it all kind of clicked and we found a way of working together. And yeah, I've not looked back, and I moved on from that discomfort and really kind of embraced what we're doing with the band, which has been wonderful. I will say there was one moment where we got Cole to sing backing vocals on one song, and he wasn't very comfortable about that, but he did a great job. I mean, he just had to shout the days of the week, right? What about Tuesday? So I think he was okay with shouting rather than actually singing, but yeah, we try not to push him to sing because he gets very uncomfortable, bless him. He's one hell of a drummer.
There's a line or there's a lyric in the song that says, "It's easy to continue to do what we're all meant to do." Who wrote that?
That was one of yours, Mick.
Was it?
Back in the real world, yeah.
Oh, Back in the Real World. Okay, yeah.
How did you come to that lyric, and how did you stand on that and decide this needs to be said? Because we said so many times to people in the world, do you know what you're meant to do? How do you guys know that you're meant to do this?
Because it's fun. That's usually what I find is that, if you love what you do, then it's not work anymore. So I spent a lot of years in, working after the band broke up, Silver Laughter, and it was not fun. So playing music has been the best outlet for that. And I get a kick out of doing it and continue to do it, so I think people know, like doctors and stuff, it's what they like, they end up being doctors because they like that. I wouldn't. I don't like science. I don't like, certain things, but music is there for me to enjoy, and that's what I like doing.
Dain, what about you?
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to music, I just, I guess I know I'm supposed to do it because I just embraced it. Like I think a lot of people, in my teens, I just started teaching myself guitar, and that was a lot of fun when you're playing 3 hours a night and building those calluses. I'm not sure how I know that I'm supposed to do it, but I know that I pick up a guitar every day and play, I might noodle for 5 minutes. I might spend a couple of hours working on a new song, but when there's, everyone has stresses in life, and if I come home feeling kind of grouchy or crappy, picking up the guitar and having that as an outlet is a wonderful thing. And I hope it doesn't have to be playing guitar, but I think everyone needs something like that. If you just have a day job and you've got family stress, and I don't mean you have a bad family, but things get on top of you, man. And the way the world is at the moment, having that outlet to create art, and I don't even mean just recording, just on the spot playing something unique. It's just, it really is a wonderful thing to have. And I think everyone should have something that gives them that. It could be running. I don't know why I don't get running, but it works for some people.
I don't get it either. Don't worry.
I'm not running unless something with big teeth is chasing me.
There you go. I agree with you. Yeah.
But whatever a person's thing is, it's having that creative outlet or that thing that you just have unbridled joy for is a really important thing.
When you guys are writing your songs, writing your music and putting it out there, is there always a message that you want to put out there in the world?
Sometimes sometimes, the songs, gosh, there's many songs as we do, because we do about 11 songs per album, and we've
A lot, yeah.
some of them mean something, and some are referring to something that's not necessarily relates to me personally, but is kind of like, here's what I see, that kind of thing, third person. So, but sometimes there's a message, sometimes there isn't. But the music, I think the music is good, and the vocals, and I love doing the harmonies and the backups and stuff. So I think it seems to work out.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, I think if there's a message, I mean, for me, and I'm talking about my own lyric writing because it's more of an abstract process for me. I kind of look back and go, there is something there. I wasn't aware when I was writing it that something's coming through. I think a lot of my stuff tends to be more inward looking. But I mean, I look back over the songs I've kind of written, and a lot of the time I kind of seem to have this thread running through, and I think the final word definitely has some of this in it, about standing up for yourself and others. And when you're faced with the world, the world's so topsy-turvy at the moment that I think that's a really good message. And I think a lot of mix writing, again, whether it's intended or not, there's a lot about unity and putting aside differences. And now, I'm not saying we set out to say we must write a song about this, but I think you can't help but put some of yourself into
this is what you're feeling at the moment, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
I always think music speaks to what you're going through at the moment.
Sure.
Absolutely. I don't speak for anyone, I think.
Yeah. And I think that's art, right? I think art generally tends to kind of reflect prevailing attitudes, or a rebel against prevailing attitudes, perhaps. But
Okay, so what can we look forward to seeing from you or hearing from you guys, like by summertime? Summertime, people are off work and they're listening to more music. That's a really great time to kind of like saturate the market again. So what can we look forward to seeing or hearing from you guys?
Well, we have the second half. We tend to do our albums in 2 sessions. So we've got the first half of the album complete. So we will be gearing up to go into the studio. We tend to go in around June, kind of mid-June.
Okay.
So we kind of release around, I think we've done between kind of August to early October tends to be our release. It just works out with our schedules and what we've got going on. Yeah. But the great thing is we will release another single or 2 during that process when the songs are ready to go before the actual album release. So there will be a new album kind of around the end of summer.
Yay! I look forward to it. Okay, so you guys, thank you guys for spending some time with me, Mick Orton and Dain Bedford. I'm not going to pronounce your last name.
No worries. It's my wife's name that I took on, so
Oh, really? Look at that. Okay.
Yeah, we double-barreled our names. We're very, very progressive.
That is very progressive. Okay, I can't even argue with that. So thank you guys for sharing. Tell everybody where they can find your music, because I want them to go and check out your music. I got your video. Here in Chicago, they're hearing you guys right now. So there you go, guys on air rated right now.
No, thank you.
So they're listening to you guys, they're going to go and check your music. But where can they find your music? Tell everyone, because I'm on TikTok, we're on Instagram, we're all over the place. So there you go. Just talk to the people. Talk to them.
Absolutely. Yeah, for sure.
Okay, thank you.
So tell them where they can find your music.
Our music, well, our band's website is www.thesilversmusic.com. And then everything else, YouTube /The Silvers Music. So anytime you put that in, it should all come up.
And you can find us on Facebook, Instagram. We got to get better at updating that, but it is there. So we're on both those platforms as well.
That's up to you, Dain, because you know what, you're the the generation that you. So that's.
I know. Yeah, I know. I got to get on it. Yeah.
I'm like Dain. I hate that too, but you know what? Social media is what it is. So we have to utilize it.
It's a tool. It's a necessary tool these days. So yeah, we need to. I
Absolutely.
give myself a slap on the wrist for not being on it sooner.
There you go. Slap yourself, because I have to make myself do it too until I get a headache. I can't do this anymore.
Yeah.
All right, you guys. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate
Thank you.
it.
This is
guys
wonderful.
Worried about the time difference? Never worry about the time difference, because I can always adjust and make it work.
No problem. I don't know why I thought you were in the UK. I think because we got it off the back of Stuart putting something out there, and I don't know why I thought you were in the UK. Because I was like, oh, another Brit.
When you said that, I was like, okay, let me just clarify this.
Yeah, when you said 4:30, I'm like, she's gonna do this at midnight, midnight.
Listen, Dain, I have done that with so many artists in the UK. They stayed up late to come on, and so I've done that. We've been in Australia is a nightmare. That's like I have to get up. That's like a whole day, but we managed to make it work.
Yeah, so that's too much. It drives me insane. I have friends out there, and the what we have to do to work out when we're talking takes a lot of planning.
It does. I literally have to get up at like 4 a.m, and it's like the next day afternoon in Australia. You're like, oh my God.
Yeah, you're talking to someone in the future. It's really bizarre.
All right, you guys, enjoy the rest of your evening. I know what is it now? Like 6 o'clock there for you, Dain?
We got 4:15 here.
5:15.
5:15, sorry.
5:15. I tell you, I used to live on the West Coast, so when you said, I was like, oh, I know my Pacific, my West Coast time.
Yeah. Now I know you're in Chicago. It makes complete sense.
There you go. Okay. All right, you guys. Thank you.
Thanks.
Have a great evening, and you guys send me your music over. Whatever you got new, just hit me up and let me know. I got you.
Absolutely. Thanks, Elle. Really appreciate it. Take care.
Not a problem. Thank you, guys. Good evening.
Bye.
All right, you guys.
Bye.
There you go. Let me see that. Okay, so now there you go. Mick is still hanging. Oh, there you go. There they go. They clicked me off. So they're the Silvers. They were that was a great conversation. Thank you guys who were tuning in and listening. I appreciate it so much. We came on at 6:30. Tuesdays are our interview shows. Thank you guys for tuning in. Who's listening on AL Radio Chat? I know you guys have missed us for a few weeks, but I literally want to use this day to interview musicians and writers and performers and actors across all spectrums of the entertainment industry. So if you don't hear us on a particular Wednesday, it's because we're working on booking guests, and that may take a little bit of time, but we get it done. Next week, we're going to have another artist, another musician that's going to come on and talk to us and share with us their latest music. And I believe they are in the UK. So that would be probably one of those late night interviews for them. So I would share more information about that on my website. You guys follow us and check us out. I love you guys on TikTok who's been hanging in there and watching me this evening. Appreciate it. You guys know on Mondays, Brianna and Dr. Fight are normally with me, but this is Elle Unfiltered. So that's me.